There are words that slip out of someone's mouth without thinking, but shake the hearts of all their fans. And this time, those words came from Xiao Zhan, the actor known for being calm, quiet, and rarely speaking openly about his feelings. However, when Wang Yibo's name came up in conversation, something inside him seemed to change. His usually flat voice suddenly filled with a soft tone, his cold eyes suddenly warmed, and his smile, as if it held something he had never wanted to reveal. The public has long been watching the dynamics between these two big stars. Since they appeared together in the Untamed, their story has never really ended. There is chemistry that is too real to be called acting. There are glances that are too honest to be called mere professionalism. And now, after years of keeping their distance in public, a short interview changed everything. Those were the words that came out of Xiao Zhan's mouth when asked by an interviewer about someone who gave him inspiration and courage in his career journey. No name was mentioned, no explicit clues, but fans immediately knew who he was referring to. Wang Yibo. That name echoed among the comments, among the pounding hearts. Because there was only one person who was so ingrained in Xiao Zhan's journey, one figure who always appeared at the most decisive moments of his life. Xiao Zhan's face as he said it couldn't be hidden by the camera. He smiled slightly, but his eyes were teary. He chuckled softly as if trying to cover something up, but to no avail. Among all the words he chose, there was a palpable longing. There was a tremor in his voice that even the microphone couldn't hide. It's been almost 5 years since the Untamed ended, but the world seems unable to move on from them. Every interaction, every moment, every glance is still a topic of conversation. But interestingly, it's not just the fans who can't forget. Xiao Zhan also seems to still live in the shadow of that time. On several occasions, he often mentions the most beautiful time in his career. And without further explanation, everyone knows what time he is referring to. When he was with Wang Yibo, he wasn't just acting. He grew, he laughed, he felt alive. Some crew members even leaked little behind-the-scenes stories. How Xiao Zhan always made sure Yibo ate on time. How Yibo secretly prepared his favorite tea during long shoots. And how they gazed at each other without words when the director yelled cut. It all felt too sincere, too deep, to be called just co-workers. Another statement that sent the fandom world into a frenzy. Xiao Zhan said it at an award ceremony when he received a trophy for his outstanding role in his latest drama. No one knows if it was spontaneous or planned, but on screen, his expression was clear, gentle, peaceful, and a little melancholic. Fans noticed one small detail, the bracelet he wore that night. The design was simple, but it was identical to the bracelet seen on Wang Yibo's wrist a few months ago. Coincidence? Maybe. But when it comes to these two, every coincidence feels like a secret message that only those who believe can understand. There are things that can only be felt, not spoken. And the relationship between Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo is one of them. The world may force them to remain silent, keep their distance, and refrain from overly obvious interactions. But the human heart knows no bounds of publicity. Both grew up under the spotlight, but understood each other in silence. An old video has resurfaced and gone viral, when Yibo quietly held an umbrella for Xiao Zhan in the pouring rain, even though he himself was soaked to the bone. There was also a moment backstage when their eyes met without words, but it was enough to make thousands of fans shed tears. It wasn't acting. It was honesty leaking through the boundaries of reality and emotion. The interview may have only lasted a few minutes, but this line went viral in seconds. Xiao Zhan said it with a faint smile, but his eyes gazed into the distance, as if looking at someone he could only see in his memories. Fans knew immediately it was about Yibo, because with that name alone, Xiao Zhan always seemed different. He was no longer a charismatic superstar, but an ordinary man whose heart was still tied to someone from the past. There was something painful yet beautiful in the way he said it. It was as if he wanted to convey that even though time had separated them, even though the world had changed, that person was still present, in his memories, in every step he took, in every breath he took. The public may no longer see them together often, but every time Wang Yibo's name is mentioned in front of Xiao Zhan, The reaction is always the same. A soft smile, a momentary pause in his breathing, and a nostalgic gaze. At a recent fan meeting, a fan boldly asked, "Are you still in touch with Yibo?" The room fell silent. Xiao Zhan smiled, looked down for a moment, then said softly, "There are things that don't need to be explained, because they never really go away." Instantly, the entire room erupted. Some fans screamed, others shed tears. Because in that one sentence, he seemed to acknowledge that the bond still existed, perhaps invisible, but never gone. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo are now walking their own paths. Both are hugely successful, busy, and seem to be living different lives. But every time the camera captures a glimpse of their emotions, the world knows something remains the same. Behind the professional smiles and busy schedules, there is a longing that has never been answered. Maybe they can't talk openly. Maybe the world is too cruel to understand a sincere relationship without a label. But those feelings, real, deep, and irreplaceable. Even the most rational fans find it hard to deny the vibes every time their names are mentioned together. There's something in the way they understand each other without words, compliment each other effortlessly, and look at each other as if the whole world has stopped spinning. That statement came from Xiao Zhan in his latest interview. There was no specific context, but fans knew it was for Yibo. The way he said it, with a soft tone that was almost a whisper, made that simple sentence feel like a prayer. It wasn't a casual remark, but an expression of someone who had made peace with the past, yet hadn't stopped loving. Perhaps love no longer exists in the form of meetings or conversations, but it still lives on, in every memory, in every step they take in different directions, but with the same feelings. There is love that is announced grandly, and there is love that is kept silent. And perhaps the love between Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo is the latter, quiet, hidden, but never dead. Both of them know that the world will not easily accept them. They understand that every smile can be misinterpreted, every glance can be used as gossip. But they also know that there is something far more valuable than just an explanation to the public: sincerity. And that sincerity is evident in every subtle interaction, in every word they choose carefully, in every moment when they pretend not to see each other, but in reality, never stop thinking about one another. Now, after Xiao Zhan's words have spread far and wide, the public is once again divided. Some consider it a sincere expression of friendship, while others are convinced it is a sign of disguised love. But behind all the speculation, one thing is certain: the feelings are real. Sometimes, a person doesn't need to say, "I miss you," to let the world know that they do miss someone. Sometimes, a single glance, a single smile, a single simple sentence is enough to reveal a secret that has been closely guarded. And maybe, this is that moment, when Xiao Zhan, unconsciously, let his feelings slip out through words he could no longer hide. Perhaps, for the first time in a long while, he lets the world know that behind all the calm, there's someone he still thinks about. Someone named Wang Yibo.